Hello. If you're watching this, it means that you have pre-ordered Bargain Bin Rom-Com, for which I am forever in your debt. Thank you so much. And as a thank you, I thought I'd bring you to this wonderful little wood so we can pretend we're having some kind of forestry poetry symposium, some kind of gathering together. And I'm just going to read you a few of my faves, if that doesn't sound too self-centered. Speaking of self-centered, the first poem is written in the voice of the imagined people that I'm scared of will read the collection and not like it. So I thought, instead of ignoring that, instead of giving in to the imposter syndrome, I thought I'd write the first poem from their perspective. It's called Oh God. Oh God, here she goes again with her poems. How flickering, how crass, this fluorescent fucking way of trying to make us laugh. I hope she doesn't ask me if I've seen them, day-glow and dewy, waiting for me, served fresh each morning, stretched over my feed like a naked cat, a trough I'm supposed to dive into, nose first, guzzling up whatever raucous revelation she has boiled the punch out of now. Just keep scrolling, switch the lights off, and lie carpet to face below the sill. Perhaps she will think we are out. Dun, dun, dun. This next one is I'll read the little prelude I did, so just to explain to people who haven't been to Edinburgh what this is about. So this is called Greyfriars Bobby, an Intervention. Greyfriars Bobby was a dog who was well known in the 19th century for guarding the grave of his owner in Edinburgh after he passed away. He stayed on that grave for 14 fucking years in total until his own death in 1872. I used to visit this statue all the time as a kid, and I thought it was really sweet and kind of like a kind of rom-com between a dog and a person. But as I've got older and I've experienced more relationships, I have realised that this is in fact a bargain bin rom-com, or perhaps not a rom-com at all. So this is about that. Greyfriars Bobby, an Intervention. Bobby, who returns to the grave, 50% hero, 50% slave, the loyalty of dogs and the beating heart of men, romanced into stone, misremembered again. Bobby, you'd have to be in some doubt that a master so deep his corpse has got gout could send nutrients up through concrete and soil that we could both be more than just tragically loyal. That the call of a dead man is louder than a field and a fire, that love knocks and love leaves, that skipping roll call doesn't make you a liar. You can't hang a cap in a cemetery's hall or a lead we'd agreed that he'd call if he needed a walk, but the dead don't need much, just a visit a year still counts as in touch. You and I, we've got horizons beyond Arthur's seat, diplomats and poets and feral cats to meet. Doom is a temptress, a chancer, an enslaver. See your blood turns to stone in service of a favour. And company alone can't turn headstones to doors. I'll admit I've never lived life on all fours, but better to be free than to be an obedient knave. And life, boy, is too short to sit on a grave. Going from tragedy of the ancient times to tragedy of the more modern, I wrote a poem called Text Back, which, as I did a survey in the Gumption Club, I did actually have to explain what TB stood for, and I had a little prelude, but it was basically, it was a common phrase used at the end of texts by teenagers in the noughties and the 90s. It basically indicated that you would like the recipient to reply, which seems really silly, but it was a really vulnerable thing to text a boy that you liked and write TB at the end to clarify that you wanted a reply. So this is about that. Text back. 2 little letters, TB, a plea to curl the words around and send them back to me. 2 little crosses, XX, a test to tease the hinge behind the neck that nods a yes. 2 little minutes, tick tick, what we did before the red receipts that turned my throat into a brick. 2 little words, no thanks. A way to tap to drain the gaps and fill the world with blanks. The next one that I wanted to read for you was one I wrote about a weird rom-com I realised I was in with boots. Really missed a lot of things during lockdown and the pandemic. One of them was walking into boots and pushing my fingers into weird tester tubs. So this is about that. Test me, or missing boots in lockdown. Lead on down stark, stocked shelving aisles, lead me like a bride to the mortar, the dirty danger of dented powders, rows of raucous rouge, and sticky serotonin sold in shades like deep throat, dare, nestle, bud, bear. The pucker of mascara as you pop the head from its sheath, the sneaky flick of sealed pots to see what's underneath. How I long to plunge chipped fingers into blush putty, twist lipstick bullets to climax, and burrow face first into the syrups of cells and mucus and femme fatale fluids, the debris of sister strangers in debit card delight, until my toes curl like old receipts and I realise it's probably how I got all those colds, right? And to prelude, we've got one more and then the last one. I also wrote one about aging cream. Enjoy. This one is about my turning 30 and feeling like I needed to use expensive night creams. It's called Unclean Magdalene. As if it wasn't enough to be without a rail card, apparently now I have to embalm myself nightly like some kind of Egyptian ruler. Except it's just me in the jars in a stare-off, because I hear, inherently dirty and clogged. And so I fight gunk with gunk and put myself to eternal rest, singing prayers of absolution over my superfood face oil, then sprinkling holy toner, then carrot-infused eye cream, before I consider ordering aspergillum off Amazon to hasten the retinol revolution. 14 stations of the skin for the sin of not living in a placid state on a spinning ball of fire in a volatile and cruel galaxy, or at least arranging my face like none of this is happening. The birds liked that one, can you tell? The very last one. This isn't the last poem in the collection. In fact, the second to last poem is a Christmassy poem, so enjoy that. But this one is called Always One, because it's the phrase that was most said to me as a teenager. Oh, Leena, there's always one. So this is about that. There is always one. There is always one, and it might as well be you. The one who eats the last biscuit, fails to read the room, buries her to file pile in a private tomb. There's always one, and rarely two, who adds an asterisk to a perfect view. Who won't cough up the time, spends it pushing dust around her plate, adjusting hair, counting chickpeas, dribbling honey on countertops, leaving the world a little tackier, grubbier, creasing just-made beds, missing calls and trains, not getting what the fuss is, not getting out enough, not staying in enough. There's always one, and it's your turn to let the world burn, just a little. Just to smoulder, to not always have to be the one to have wet tea towels on hand, to let the ball drop, be watched by others, to admit you haven't seen it and don't intend to. Set the plates to simply turn, confess to apathy, or at least a delicious taste for tinkering, faffing and not finishing everything with a bow, and do it all with your baggage in tow. Buy an extra seat, spread out, let them move and reroute. Be the one who repeats a bad performance without clearing her dressing room, sticks the lashes on harder this time, holds the baby awkwardly, makes the wrong joke, fucks up in the frying pan but passes it off as smoked. There's always one, and it's nothing new. There's always one, and it might as well be you. I hope you enjoy Bargain Bin Rom-Com. Thank you so much for pre-ordering, and I'll see you on the internet somewhere.